Welcome back, everybody, to the playbook here on the Boise Beat. I'm your host, Alan Gallegos. And as always, I got my special guests. First up, we got Chris, aka Buttagoon. And then we
Yeah.
got the OG Pops over here, Alan Senior.
Hey,
All right, guys. Let's just hop right into it. A lot of crazy news around the NFL the last few weeks. I mean, starting off with the head coaching changes. We got Harbaugh to the Chargers. Big time move right there for them. Expect a lot
Dude,
from them coming up here in the next few years, and some quarterback changes as well. But Chris, let's start off with the Harbaugh news.
I'm huge fan of that. Love that. Get Staley out of town. Guy didn't know how to coach anything. You probably would find a better coaching job watching Little League. So, hey man, I'm all in for the Chargers. I know they made some free agency some noise. They got rid of Eckler and lost Keenan and stuff. So it's what are they gonna do? But hey, man, I'm excited for him. I think they got the right coach to build a winning culture. So it's a good move.
yeah, I agree. Harbaugh's a big move, and they had to clear all this cap space out so they could sign some people. So Eckler's gone, Keenan Allen's gone, and so is Mike Williams, and that's a lot of talent to lose. That's Herbert's favorite target. So they're going to have some catching up to do now, either in the draft or free agency, whatever's left.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what
I
they're gonna
love
do with that. That
for
sucks.
sure. I mean,
But
they lost everybody. I mean, everybody that Herbert either hands the ball out to or throws the ball to is gone now. But
Yeah.
I mean, you got the head coach, so you got the starting right there, like the starting point. You got your quarterback, your head coach. Things are going to be good there for a while. Yeah, we got a
well,
Bears fan already commenting about Keenan Allen, which is big time move for the Bears. We're gonna get to the Bears because they've made a
yeah.
lot of moves. Surprisingly, Chicago they look like they're on the
They
rise,
finally
but
they actually like their quarterback chances now. So
I know, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, so
Maybe
they're
it's
getting
not a
Fields out of
quarterback
town.
graveyard no more. Yeah.
Maybe.
Um, I like Harbaugh. I love Harbaugh. Actually, I should say, like, obviously coming from Michigan, wins a championship. The guy has been successful everywhere he's went. Big football guy. I watched an interview from him a few years ago. He was literally just getting into biology and talking about how the human body craves contact. He's just that kind of guy. Like he's a big time football guy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I missed that last question that just came up there about Jay Jettis. Do you think they get rid of both of them thinking Jettis is coming in? Ooh, what do you guys think about that? Jay Jettis might be on the move with them losing Kirk Cousins to the Falcons, which is a huge move for them too. They could be scary next year.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard much of Jay Jettis to the Chargers. Me personally, I know they're floating like the Steelers, I think, or like I know I've seen the Bengals floated around too. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how true those are, but if Jay Jettis is trying to get out of town, I'm all for it. If he teams up with a super team, hey, who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be tough for anybody to make that salary adjustment. He's getting
Yeah.
paid a lot of money. So either way, to swing that one, especially with the Bengals being in essentially cap hell right now, because they're about to
Yeah.
lose T.
The
Higgins,
cap
who's
don't
one of their
exist.
receivers. It don't
The
exist. If
cap
you're
the
one of the
cap's
good teams,
fake. The
yeah,
cap's fake.
it's a myth at this point. It really is.
Dude, you
No,
just
but
keep kicking it down the road. You're fine. You're fine. That bill
exactly.
never comes due. Somehow,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What came due for the Rams last year?
They,
They had to reset.
well, you guys
Yeah.
got to get a guy that like the Saints have. We've been doing moves like that since like 2012. Hasn't
Yeah.
come due yet. Yeah, we lost some guys, but
I mean,
still hasn't come due yet.
no, but
So,
there's a lot of big time moves. Obviously, mentioning the Rams, Aaron Donald just retired.
so it
Yeah,
was a great day for quarterbacks, but a sad day for everybody else.
Yeah,
yeah, that
sad
was a
day for
sad
all of
day.
us Rams fans.
Hmm.
That's a sad day for the Rams fans, but like you said, a lot of quarterbacks are very happy now. A lot of offensive coordinators are very happy. He's gone.
Gonna miss him though. Just not gonna. You don't see that kind of force every. You see it every once in a while. So it was definitely great seeing him, but Sad he's gone. Sad he's gone.
Yeah, that was a big time gut punch. I feel like they were one piece away on defense from being almost elite and making a Super Bowl run, and now they're barely above average. I mean, he makes that much of a difference. That was huge losing him. Looks like Dallas asked a question. Zeke back to the Cowboys. I could see that. I mean, they didn't have anybody that could run at the goal line last year. I mean, they really missed him. Obviously, they had a lot more issues than just running at the goal line by the end of last year. But yeah, I
Well,
could see them picking up a big back.
yeah, and I mean, they can't just be rolling out their boy Deuce out there. I mean, they got little man running out there, man. They can't. They got to bring somebody in.
He how tall is Deuce Vaughn? You know,
5'4", 4'2". I don't know. Short. He's short. He's not.
He's out there untying people's shoelaces. That's his job.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's a
job.
secret weapon. Yeah, not so bad. But
I don't know if Zeke will do it for him, but I mean,
You're gonna need a lot more than Zeke. He didn't even do it
Yeah.
for the Patriots, and they were terrible.
yeah, the Patriots had a lot of issues. Zeke wasn't their issue, that's for sure.
Well, he wasn't the solution either. So
that's true. That's true.
yeah,
No,
the Cowboys.
and the Cowboys got a lot of issues going on right now. I mean, they lost some talent, to say the least, and they
Yeah.
got a lot of people in contract years. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Vander Esch retired.
See a Patriots fan saying, "Hey now," but I want to say, the Cowboys. You know how they were saying they were all in. I got to ask you guys if you guys saw Skip Bayless's tweet. We got to talk about that.
Legendary comma, dude.
Oh my gosh,
Legendary comma.
That comma saved his career. That comma should be in the Hall of Fame. So
Best
for those
comma of
that,
all time.
yeah, for those that don't know, Skip Bayless was mocking the Cowboys for saying they're all in, and they have not made any moves throughout free agency. And Skip Bayless tweeted, "All in, comma, my ass." And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss on this live, but that was the tweet. I'm just quoting it. All right. And that comma definitely saved him from becoming a meme. Still became a meme, but he would have been a meme for the rest of his career. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was having his wife proofread that. He was making sure everybody had eyes on it before he said that out.
That is just insane. How in the
Yeah,
internet age, how do you do that? You gotta triple check your tweets these days. You got to.
Yeah.
You're a comma away from a meme.
Still a great meme though. All the Spider-Man holding up holding back the train, dude. It was so good. It was so good.
Oh my gosh, that was great though. That was great. And of course, speaking of memes, the guy has been a walking meme the last few years. Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, made the headlines this last week. I think was a huge move for the Steelers as they got a few quarterbacks. Not only did they get Russell Wilson for basically nothing, who the Broncos are still paying, but they made a move to get Justin Fields. I think they just sent him over a bag of chips, and they got Justin Fields.
Yeah. Seventh round pick, I believe, and then it'll be fourth, depending on how much he plays. So
yeah,
they got a couple quarterbacks. I don't know how much better they got, but couldn't be any worse than last year.
Yeah, and obviously with the Fields trade, yeah, we're gonna get to the Fields trade because more about the Bears because there's a lot going on with them and lots to talk about there. But I mean, the Steelers. A lot of people say, you've always said, if you have 2 or 3 quarterbacks, you basically have no quarterbacks because you don't want any controversy in there, and only one can throw the ball. But I love this trade for the Steelers, honestly, getting Russell Wilson. I think it's going to be perfect for him in a system where they plan on running it a lot and they plan on playing defense. They picked up Pat Queen from the Ravens, which is insane. And I think the Steelers are going to be pretty dangerous. Yeah, Russ did get knocked off his horse, indeed. Broncos country. That's right.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that is honestly the Steelers. I don't know how much you could like. Russ definitely played better last year than he did the years prior. In terms of touchdown interception ratio. So I mean, if you're looking at that, I think there's a meme about Kenny Pickett. Like Fields and Russ threw more touchdowns in their matchup than Kenny threw like all year or something. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like that's a good increase, and
Yeah.
Russ is a vet, and you're paying him the vet min. So if he does anything special, he exceeds all expectations.
Oh yeah. You're hardly paying
And
the
then they
guy.
basically got Justin Fields for a bag of balls because they said he has to play like more than 50% of the snaps, and they've all
Yeah.
came out and been like, yeah, he's not the
Yeah.
starter. He's not
It's gonna be Russ.
he's
Yeah.
not competing. So it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. Pat Queen, great move.
I think the Steelers just honestly finessed a lot of teams right now, and I think they're going to be pretty dangerous because that defense was already elite. And obviously, if your quarterback room had been Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky, and Kenny Pickett, I mean, you can't expect to go anywhere with that. And I don't know what they thought was going to happen with that, but I think anybody would have been an upgrade at this point. So Russ, I think, is going to fit in pretty well over there.
Well, and Mitch Trubisky has to hate Justin Fields. He's taken his job twice now.
Yeah, that's one of the comments on here too. Yeah.
Just look, see, Pat's
Yep.
with it. Pat's standing up to it.
Yeah.
No, for sure. That was big time moves by the Steelers this year to stay competitive for next year. Pops, anything on that trade before we move on?
Yeah, I think Trubisky was gone even before Fields came in. So, yeah, I think it's a good move for Wilson. Back to his Seattle roots, defense, running the ball. Don't put it all on him. He's got some good receivers too. And so, yeah, that'd be an interesting one. If he can't handle it, then they got Justin Fields to come in and see what he can do. And, Mike Tomlin, man, he's going to have another winning season. And I think he's got a better chance now with the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. They haven't had a quarterback since Big Ben. And the fact that they've still been above 500 every year, I think says a lot about how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. So I think even if one of these guys pans out, I think the Steelers are going to have a chance to make a deep run in the playoffs.
Well, I think a lot of teams are being cautious too, because we had like 60 different starters or something like that throughout the season. 60, 70 is like the most we've had in a season. So teams are being cautious, and there's much worse backups out there than Justin Fields.
And I think Justin Fields could still end up a starter somewhere. Like, he's not a bad quarterback.
Nathan Peterman, bro. So I mean, I'd take Justin Fields as my backup.
What are you guys doing? Where are you guys at right now?
Nothing. We're not doing nothing. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you lost your receiver. What is his name?
Mike Thomas, baby. I'm upset about
Thomas.
it. He got dealt an unfair league hand. Shout out Sean Payton keeping him in up 20 points in the fourth quarter, and
that's how he got hurt.
Career went downhill.
Yeah, he's never come back from that injury, man. The guy was the best in the league at the time.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. It's gonna make me cry, bro. I don't need to cry on the podcast.
Is somebody else going to pick him up, or are they just going to let him retire?
I've heard rumors of him signing with like the Chiefs or the Ravens or something, just like an ultimate contender.
Watch the Chiefs get him, and all of a sudden his career gets back on track. He's healthy again. That'd be.
Yeah, he ends up.
Of course.
Speaking of the Chiefs, they got Hollywood Brown now.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Andy Reid's jumping in, recruiting. Big red and diamonds, baby.
Yeah. Man.
Shout out Andy.
They were just one receiver away. I mean, they still won the Super Bowl last year without any receivers, basically. We'll see how it goes. Hollywood Brown.
One. They're going to draft one. They are. There's like 10 really good ones. They'll get them one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't worried about the Chiefs no more. We can't worry about them ever again.
I hope not. But before we hop over to the draft stuff, this one question I saw we had in the comments, I think from Oscar, it was where do you think T. Higgins ends up? Because obviously he's not happy with the franchise tag right now. He's wanting to get a long-term secure deal, which I think is honestly a no-brainer for any player. Obviously, look what happened to Saquon. So T. Higgins going to be traded probably unless the Bengals give him a long-term contract, which they don't have much money. I could honestly see him. A team to look out for, T. Higgins to the Patriots, Patrick says. I think a team to look out for, maybe a shocker, would be Bills. I think something to look at. Maybe keep an eye on Stephon Diggs. What happens with him? Obviously, it's a story that repeats itself every year, almost every other week. Is Stephon Diggs unhappy? But obviously they're kind of cleaning house right now, going a little bit younger. But I would not be surprised to see if T. Higgins somehow ends up there. That's just my sleeper pick. You guys got any ideas?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if it's really in the Bengals' character, but they could just franchise tag him right now to kind of continue working on that deal so they don't lose him in free agency. So that could be a thing because it's hard to let a guy like that walk. But also, like, if they are going to trade him, this might be the best time because I don't know how much. Like, if T. Higgins is your number one, I think he's great. But is he like we're not going to probably say he's Jamar Chase or Jay Jettas or you know what I mean, like a bona fide number one. How good does he look because he's on the other side of a number one? So
yeah, that's the question.
and
I love T.
if people
Higgins.
are like, yeah, and if people are like, oh, I love T. Higgins, then I think you trade him and try to get more draft stock, other players to fill other needs. I mean, I think I saw something where the Bengals don't have it's. I think they're okay in cap. I mean that again, it's fake, so it's not like not screwed, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing because they haven't paid Jamar Chase yet out of his rookie contract, so that's more so what they're setting up. Because eventually they're gonna have to pay him, and they're not gonna give Higgins that money because Jamar's their number one. And honestly, there's no rumors yet of who he may get traded to. I'd be really surprised if this trade goes through before training camp. I could see it like kind of lagging on. Bengals wanting to hold on to him, and if they don't find any suitors, maybe keep him for the year if he even will play on that franchise tag. But yeah, I don't see this happening anytime soon if he gets traded.
Well, I could see the Cowboys, the Chiefs swooping in, try to get him. Wouldn't that be
Cowboys?
crazy?
You
Yeah.
see the Cowboys
Are they
doing
all
something?
in for that? Are they all in for that?
Are they all in your ass?
For that?
I think they're playing peekaboo right now, but I think they're going to do something. They have to. Really.
Yeah. They
All
need to
the
do
fans
something.
are getting a little frustrated right now.
Yeah,
I know
but that's
one
never.
fan that's pretty loud right now. He's in the comments too, but he's pretty loud about them not being all in.
I think fans being unhappy has never stopped Jerry Jones from like making anything happen. He would have done something a decade ago about getting them some help, man, because they've been really close, like on the cusp. And usually NFL teams, you'll see them make a move, and as you see, Troy says about get a 6th round pick for him. Yeah, it's crazy the way that draft picks get for star players. It's like a 6th rounder for a guy. That's
because they have to pay him too. That's what.
Yeah.
But if he's under contract for longer, of course they're going to get a lot more for him. But if he's going to be a free agent and he's only got 1 year, that's when you start seeing 4th and 5th round picks.
At least if you trade for a guy, though, you know what you're getting because you've seen how good he is. With the draft pick, you don't know how good they could be because they haven't played him.
But you could also just use those as like they're just kind of like extra just things to make the deal a little bit sweeter. I mean, no one's really like like if you give up a 6th round, people are like almost admitting like, hey, I'm not going to do nothing with that 6th round. Maybe you can.
Yeah.
You know, so
they're basically just giving you the player. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
But with the Cowboys, I think they've missed a lot of opportunities over the last few years with their window. You know, I think they've had a lot of talent and they've had money even to capitalize on that. And I feel like they have missed a big majority of their window. And, you know, hopefully for the sake of the league, they do something soon, you know, get some guys.
Well, they need a running back and they got rid of Gallup. So they're going to need another wide receiver. You could probably pick him up in the draft, you know.
A lot of good receivers in this draft.
A lot of good receivers.
They lost their left tackle. They lost their linebacker.
Yeah, but their left tackle was never there anyway. So
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
And Van Der Esch too. He hadn't played hardly in the last few years either.
Yeah, that neck injury. That's why he retired.
Yeah.
Still holds the fill, man. I guess they signed Eric Kendricks or something, right?
Yeah, they got Eric Kendricks from the Niners. That was a nice move.
Ooh, yeah. That moved the needle. I seen a lot of Cowboys fans tweeting about that. Not.
Well, I see they have their long snapper though. Heck yeah,
that's
Patrick.
true.
Good
Yeah.
eye.
They
Good
got that back. They got him back. Don't let
I
him
saw
hit the market.
can't let that guy go. You know, you can't. They can't afford that. But
They
I
lost
saw
their
Tyrone.
center too. Cowboys
Yeah.
lost their center.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
good, pretty good player. And Tyron Smith.
Yeah, Tyrone Smith went to the Jets, who also just got Mike Williams today,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was a very huge move. Jets making some moves. Rodgers going to come back next year. If Rodgers plays next year, you guys hear the rumors about Rodgers?
Yeah.
I heard they're
Might be-
just rumors, but you never know
Dude,
with that guy.
he hasn't denied
You
it.
never
He
know
hasn't
with that
denied
guy.
it.
Tell
The
you what,
rumor is
he better keep his day job. Yeah, because he ain't going nowhere.
the rumor is he might be running for VP with
Yeah.
RFK Jr., which I think would be the saddest Jets thing ever. Is if you finally get your franchise guy, and then all of a sudden he tries to run for vice president and gets maybe 5% of the vote, and then you still don't have your quarterback.
I doubt he'll get that.
Yeah, they're gonna be running independent. It's a losing battle. But we're not going into politics. Let's make that clear. Let's keep that out of this. But
Yeah, that's
on our other podcast.
Yeah, here we shut up and dribble. Yeah. No, but all right. Speaking of Chargers starting to sound like Kanye choices. For real. But speaking of a Chargers wide receiver and this free agency, Keenan Allen got traded because the Chargers didn't want to restructure. Got traded to the Bears. Bears making a lot of moves this offseason. Fields gone. Incoming Caleb Williams, their future quarterback. What do you guys think about these Bears moves so far? Pops, start with you.
Oh, I love them, man. Bears look like they might have something going now. I mean, going to get a quarterback with the first pick, I imagine. Then they got that 9th pick in the draft too, where they can do something with it, either trade back a little bit, pick up extra picks. But Chicago, I like what they're doing. They got Keenan Allen. Didn't they get another wide receiver too? Thought they did.
Or
a running back, something like that.
Yeah, they got DeAndre Swift and they got Gerald Everett.
Yeah, that whole division has been playing. Been trading running backs back and forth to him. DeAndre Swift, and you got Saquon Barkley going in the same division to the Eagles. Yeah.
A lot of moves. It's been very, very crazy.
Yeah, I'm big on the Bears, dude. I mean, this is what they should have been doing the last couple of years. They got Kevin Byard. I mean, he's a dog. You know, they've made some moves for their team, so it's good to see the Bears finally do something for their team because I don't know what they've been doing the last couple of years, but it wasn't trying to win games.
No one does.
I'll tell you what they better do is they better pick the right quarterback.
Well, everyone knows there's only one quarterback that anyone's gonna pick with that slot. It's gonna be Caleb Williams, and we'll see how that goes. Everyone's hyping him up as the next Mahomes already.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope I'm wrong, but I think he's overhyped already.
Well, you never know. They might go somebody else. Look what they did Trubisky when they could have had Mahomes and those guys.
Yeah.
Or like Tucker, you know, like he was a shot out of the dark for first, you know. So someone could be. Or they could. What if they take like Drake May? You know.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so embarrassing after they screwed
It'd be
up with
wild,
Trubisky.
but that also could be a Bears thing.
Well, there's a lot of football experts that are saying Drake May should go number 1.
That's crazy to me.
Troy
says, he says, why do you have to even bring up Trubisky? And then he also mentioned scared because he comes from USC. Obviously, there's past USC quarterbacks haven't had much success in the NFL, but I mean,
very different climates.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna be different, it's got to be this guy. I mean, this guy has been hyped for the last few years now as the overall pick unanimously once he declares for the draft. So it's like if no one's gonna blame the Bears if this guy somehow doesn't pan out. No one's gonna blame them for picking him because everybody's thought,
Yeah.
they've been hyping him up since last year that he's the next Mahomes, which I think is
Yeah.
crazy to say, but
That Drake May, he does come from the same university, North Carolina, as
that's
Trubisky.
Trubisky.
So
Yeah.
if that's ever a tell, that's a tell if I've ever seen one. Stay away from North Carolina again.
Yeah. Well, Commanders obviously getting rid of Sam Howell, a North Carolina guy right there. I think that's a big tell that they're not going to be drafting Drake May because I think if they were to be drafting Drake May, they'd want some familiarity, at least somewhat, keep those guys together. So I could see them getting Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he's the other
Love
hyped
him.
up quarterback in this draft.
Love him.
Love him. Totally
Love him.
love
You
him.
guys do. He's small for a quarterback like CJ, not a CJ Stroud, but Bryce Young. We saw Bryce Young ended up.
Now
Yeah,
he's
but
better.
Bryce Young's
He's
also
bigger
on
than
like
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young's is at a pretty bad spot.
Oh, the worst.
And I
That
mean,
poor
maybe you
guy.
could say the Commanders, but like, I mean, they're making some moves. They're trying.
They've made the most mediocre moves I've ever seen in one off season. Like
Yeah,
they're
but I
dedicated
mean,
to
at least
be
they're trying.
mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they got old Austin Eckler and Zach Ertz,
Yeah.
and it's all mids. They're all
Yeah.
mid, but
Yeah.
I will
And-
say they did sign Jeremy Chin, which he's a dog.
Ooh,
He's a
okay.
dog.
Yeah, that's a good
I do
pickup
like
right
Jeremy.
there.
So I mean, we'll see how they go.
Yeah, and Dan Quinn, who knows? He wasn't. I mean, he went to one Super Bowl when he was head coach of the Falcons, but we all know how that one ended.
And they also
Yeah.
got what didn't they get Cliff, right, as their OC? Kingsbury or something like that. Who's their OC
Ooh.
right now?
I would not know that
OC?
off the top of my head.
Another new one.
Another comment though, Patrick said Jaden Daniels to the Patriots, which would be something to think back on later because Belichick actually was huge on Jaden Daniels before he had got fired. He had planned to draft Jaden Daniels in that spot. So we'll see if they stick to that plan and if they still try to blame Belichick later on, as they've been blaming him a lot lately. I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary on the Patriots, but it's basically just it was a hit piece on Bill Belichick, which I thought was completely unfair. It was a Robert Kraft production for sure.
Oh
It was BS. Yeah.
Dude.
But yeah, that's some big news right there. Obviously, another big move I thought was huge was the Falcons getting Kirk Cousins with all the young firepower they have on their offense. I think that's huge. I'm excited for that one.
I'm not. I'm really
Chris,
upset.
You're shaking your head. In your division.
Yeah. I mean, we were mediocre fighting with, Desmond Ritter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Desmond Ritter.
I mean, I will say Kirk doesn't really perform the greatest in big time moments. Like truly, we all know that about Kirk. But I mean, he is, he can be a regular season guy. So that's all enough. That's all you need to win the division, mostly. So
that was a huge pickup for the Falcons, man. They had everything but a quarterback, and now maybe Pitts will actually get some passes thrown to him.
Oh my gosh!
They didn't switch numbers.
Finally, and of course, though, like the last few years, I've had Kyle Pitts and watch. Now this year, I'm not going to have him in fantasy, and all of a sudden they're going to throw in the ball. That's just how it's going to go. I already know. I've accepted my fate.
Yep.
Patrick here is asking, is Kirk getting overpaid?
Yes.
No, not really. He's got the going rate. Well, he's only making $40 million, isn't he?
Yeah,
let's see.
But I mean,
4 years,
Kirk's
180.
like all-time fleecer.
What's that?
4 years, 180.
Yeah, it's 45.
Yeah,
that's not the going rate for most quarterbacks. It's not a bad. Yeah. It's not a bad deal
at all.
Not
a bad rate though.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a quarterback, one that's proven, you're gonna have to pay up. And I think Kirk obviously is a level above Baker Mayfield. So he's going to get that big money. I think,
Yeah.
with the roster you already have, you need a quarterback that can throw the ball to those young guys. I think that was honestly, you pay whatever you can to get that guy. I think they desperately needed it, and that was huge for them.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, Kirk's an all-time fleecer. He gets guaranteed money all the time,
Yeah.
and he's paid like a top 10 quarterback. And I'm not saying he's not, but I'm also like, you got to have an argument for him to be a top 10. Like when he's
Yeah.
playing great, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
Kirk's a top 10. But when he's playing
Yeah.
bad, you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I read somewhere where he's made the second most money to Aaron Rodgers since he's been in the league, man. Yeah, because he like with Washington, or was it Minnesota? He took, everything was guaranteed. He took less money, but everything was guaranteed.
So smart.
Yeah, it's a smart guy, man.
Yeah. And honestly, the verdict is still out on Kirk, how good he really is. Everybody knows that because how many playoff games he's won. I think he's won one playoff game, right? I think his whole career. And so,
Yep, that
the
in New
verdict's still
Orleans.
out on him. Yeah, and of course. And of
Yeah.
course, everybody knows he like kind of teases people because one week he looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And then the next week, all of a sudden, he looks like he's not above average. I love Kirk Cousins, and I think it's going to work out great for Atlanta. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch next year.
Oh, yeah.
And Hondo here mentioned rest in peace to the Rams defense. Aaron Donald, the GOAT. Yeah, we discussed that a little bit at the top of the podcast. Still tough to bring up again. It's been a rough few weeks.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a star somewhere. Even maybe trading for Riddick from the Philadelphia
Eagles.
to give them some good pass rushing. Or they're going to really, what they need to do is they need to hit it big in the draft. They got number 19. They got Donald at 13. I mean, they just got it. They're there, There's stars there. You just got to pick the right one. Look at the Cowboys, and they got Parsons. Nobody was talking about him before the draft. And look what he's done. Maybe the Rams go back to Penn State again and get Chop Robinson. See what he turns into.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, either way, you're not going to replace
know.
Aaron Donald with one guy.
No.
It's going to take multiple guys. There's no way you can just fill in that spot. And the guy was phenomenal. Getting triple teamed almost every play. So that's gonna hurt for a few years, honestly. They're going to have to find a way to replace him. I heard that the way that they restructure his contract, though, it leaves the door open for him to return if he decides to. Which, I don't know. I feel like if things may be going well this year.
Look at you. Get your hopes up.
Dude,
Look at you.
I know. It's the only way I
Look
can,
at
bro.
you.
It's been a hurtful few weeks. Well, a few days. It's felt like years.
He comes back like that safety we picked up before the Super Bowl. What's his name?
Eric Weddle.
Eric Weddle. Yeah, it could be another Eric Weddle.
Yeah. Look, listen to you guys. I love it.
I love Eric Weddle. When he came back, our safety room was all beat up. He came back, man. He gave us stability at the back end. He ended up with a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, he joined them like the second to last week of the year, and then ended up tearing his whole shoulder up right before halftime. Finished the game on it. Led the team in tackles too. Yeah, that's a good story. Great memories to look back on.
Yeah, could have
I don't
happened.
know if we'll be back to the Super Bowl now, but
yeah, because I was thinking the Rams going to be one of the favorites this year until that news broke. Now I'm not so sure. Still going to be a good team, though. I think the Rams plan on outscoring everybody now. With the weapons they got and their offensive line, they might do it.
Which I don't ever think is a good formula in the NFL to discount and outscore everybody.
Look at their backup quarterback, man. He's a stud. Garoppolo.
Yeah, Jimmy G.
Hey, it's better than the one we had lately. Anything we've had lately.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Once I saw that we had Brett Rippon from Boise State that was going to start last year, I was like, we're done for, dude. I saw this guy at Boise State and he's buns.
And the 2 years before that, we had nobody. Huh?
bro. I'm just
So at
being
least
honest. He was.
Garoppolo, I mean, better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
He's better than who the Saints got? They have a quarterback.
Yeah, Nathan Peterman, bro, and Derek Carr. That
Right.
quarterback room, elite.
Oh yeah.
Don't y'all get it
Nathan
twisted.
Peterman.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why all those
my
wide
fault, bro. My
receivers
fault.
are leaving now, huh?
No, we got Cedric Wilson. We got Cedric Wilson. He wanted to come play.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's Boise
That's not
State
good.
guy.
Yeah, but that's not good.
No, it's gonna make for an interesting season. Obviously, some more big time news. We kind of mentioned it, but Patrick said sounds like a guy that sells houses. But Saquon Barkley, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but him going to the Eagles,
Yeah.
obviously not without some criticism from legendary Giants running back Tiki Barber saying
Yeah.
you're dead to me. A little extreme,
Dude.
but that made the rounds.
Like Barkley cares. He got his money. I mean, who's Tiki Barber anyway?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
really,
I
who
mean-
is he?
Yeah, dude. I mean, where's he? I don't know. I
mean,
thought that was wild, dude.
That was crazy to say.
You hate the
Yeah.
man for getting it back. The Giants could have paid him.
They
He
could have,
gave him
yeah, they
multiple
didn't.
chances. He gave him
But-
multiple chances.
But thing about Philadelphia, that wasn't all their problem. Their problem was on defense last year, and they need to do something about their defense because their defense fell apart. So Saquon Barkley is a nice pickup. They got a lot more work to do.
They have made some moves. I will say I do like their them getting
Yeah,
back
they made some good moves.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Done.
he had a lot of apologizing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
Because when he left the first time, he was talking about it, how bad the fans were, how much he hated him. Now he's back. He's like, well, I didn't really mean that like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people say things.
I was misquoting.
Yeah. No, they've made some good moves. I mean, obviously last year the running backs weren't their problem. The problem is they didn't hand the ball off to their running backs. So we'll see. I mean, they got Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator now. Yeah, he says Barkley not going to get the ball anyways. Tush push, which that's obviously that might be off the table now. Jason Kelsey's retired. Who knows how good the tush push is going to be this year?
Yeah.
That's
He was
the
the
real
biggest part of
question.
it.
He
the
was
biggest part of it.
literally. Like who's going to be a better center than him to execute the tush push?
Yeah, and there is a lot of memes going around that Jalen Hurts is going to take all of Saquon's like 1 yard, 5 yard in touchdowns basically. So there's
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
also
for the sake
that
of my
extra
fantasy
threat.
team. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's gonna be interesting to see for sure. Packers made some moves. They cut Aaron Jones and picked up Josh Jacobs.
okay.
Yeah.
That was a great move for them. Packers normally
Ah.
don't make big free agent moves like that, so I love to see that. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess they have a little bit lately with the
Mhm.
Goodigans, but I was like, the Packers? Well, okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've always liked Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it moves the needle that much. He's a
Mhm.
little younger, but didn't Aaron Jones go to the Vikings or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So-
definitely I know it's because like the whole pay cut. He's been injured a little bit,
Yeah.
so
Dude, he was hurt almost all of last year, and they needed him. So obviously the injuries have played a part, and he's getting to that age. Running backs by the time they get to age 30, no one knows what's going to happen to them, how much longer they got on them. Obviously Derrick Henry, you see his yards per carry has dropped a lot over the last few years, and so the Ravens picked him up, which also is another big one. But I mean, look at Todd Gurley. What happened to his knee? All of a sudden he's done for. Look at Adrian Peterson once he turned. I think Adrian Peterson might actually be the exception. But most
Yeah.
running backs, you look
Wow.
at them as soon as they turn age 30. Well, he definitely had a few news stories he made by the time he had retired. Yeah.
I was saying, I was like, well, I mean, he's AP or AD, I should
Oh.
say, all day. He's great,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Yeah, he did
but
have some questionable things.
he did quite a few. But they're as far as like running backs, though, like they just take so much of a beating, and then they get paid like crap. But it's like you never know what you're gonna get after a certain point. So it's like, do you take the gamble and pay him the big contracts? Obviously, Saquon a few years ago had one bad year, and the Giants didn't know if they were even gonna keep him. And so it's you know you don't know with these running backs what they're gonna be. After their first contract, they're kind of like, see ya.
Yeah, that's really what they do. Go back in the draft, pick up a running back in the 4th round that can do the job. Look at the Rams, Kyron Williams, 5th round pick. He had over 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, and honestly, the Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Melvin Gordon, the running backs from that little time span, that's kind of really hurt the face of the league as far as like, do we pay these guys? Because look what happened to them. Right after they paid him big money, all of a sudden they're not the same people no more. I mean, Zeke, I think he just stopped working hard. Really, it wasn't injuries. I think he ate his way out of that place. But I mean, but like Todd Gurley had injuries, and Melvin Gordon, I think he did too. But it's a big gamble paying these guys.
But it's so important to your team, though. Like, you need a
you
good
need it.
running back. So it's
Yeah,
like
you need
you
it.
kind of have to take that risk, like you do.
Yeah.
So,
And I think the last few years have showed like all the best teams are running the ball good. They know how to run the ball well. And so it's like it shows the importance of it, but everybody's so scared to like pay the big money for it, which
Well, they actually ponied up this year. I mean,
they did.
Barkley got some good money, and some of the other free agents got pretty decent money. They said because the salary cap went up 30 mil, but that's why they got paid a little more this year. But there was
I want to see
$8 to $12 million went out this year to to a lot of running backs.
I want to see because I think Barkley got $8 million a year, and then there was some receiver who's like not even above average, and he got paid like 10 to 12 million or something like that. And I mean, if you're Saquon Barkley, that's gotta hurt. I mean, looking at that, like, come on, this guy's getting paid 10 to 12 million. I mean,
Yeah, dude, but
I mean, how do you justify that?
Because it's not a running back friendly league.
It's not.
That's how
Dude.
they justify it. It's we need you, but we ain't gonna pay it because we could probably find some other guy that does that exact same job.
Exactly.
So it's like it's a tough time for him, dude.
Yeah, they can thank Tyreek Hill for that, for the wide receivers. All of a sudden they're like getting paid 22 million, 20 million, and all of a sudden the Dolphins give them 30. Change the whole pay scale on them.
Well, yeah, and then it all originated too, especially. I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers when the Jags signed Christian Kirk. Like everyone was like, Christian Kirk.
Oh yeah, 18
mil. I was that guy.
Like,
so
I
was that guy.
They get paid, man. They get paid, especially because people are like, well, we got to get them to like this market's not attractive. This team's not attractive, so we got to pay them a little bit more. But it doesn't go that way for running backs mostly. So
yeah, look at Calvin Ridley. He got 22, 23 million.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Titans wouldn't pay.
No wonder
AJ
Barkley's
Brown.
so pissed.
Yeah, I know. Freaking Titans, dude.
Oh, man,
fumble of the decade.
They're crazy too.
Yeah, because when Vrabel was coaching there, he was the one who was all in on pay AJ Brown, and he was so mad when their GM refused to do it, and he traded him. And obviously, AJ Brown becomes a All-Pro player over with Philadelphia, and then Vrabel gets fired a few years later, and then now they want to throw out that big time money to Calvin Ridley. It's like, it just made him look so bad.
30 or something.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. Like I don't know, it's wild.
And obviously, Calvin Ridley got suspended for a year for gambling on NFL games.
But he gambled for other people, He didn't actually do the gambling himself.
Well,
he's putting it in for other people, supposedly,
Yeah. Okay.
Same result.
Anyways, they're saying though that the Titans were nowhere near the odds of signing him. They're like plus 1,800 odds, and they're like, Calvin Ridley, he just took those odds. He made a bag off that. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh,
that was the best. That was the best.
Dude, there's no escaping the memes in any sport, really.
So good. People have too much time on their hands, man.
They really do.
They do.
And I love it though. I love it. No, but a lot of big moves and a lot of moves yet to be made. Obviously, the draft coming up, so a lot of where people are taking is gonna kind of decide where teams decide to approach from there. But I mean, really, that's all we got for today's episode. I mean, there's a lot sure we could have got to, but we're already at 46 minutes. I mean, that being said, we'll wrap it up here, boys. But hey, as always, appreciate having you guys on, man. I'll see y'all next week. All right.
Love y'all.
That draft's going to be interesting.
It's gonna be real interesting. But
We'll see.